Residents of Legend Creek Drive in Fulshire, Texas, discovered an uninvited guest in the backyard of a semi-built house. And when police officer Kevin Zichong arrived at the scene, he saw that the deer had been attached to a tree with some rope. However, what happened next suggested that this was not any young buck, but a dear friend. It's believed that the deer came from a section of woodland adjacent to the houses, but why he was tied up remains a mystery. Such was the situation that the family who discovered the animal made it appropriate to call the Fulshire police, and the cops have since had many dealings with the deer in question. After receiving the strange call, Officer Zichong was led by construction workers to the backyard where the animal was tied up, and with a bit of elbow grease the workers, Angie Chang cut the buck free and took away the cord that had been attached to the creature's antler. The video of the rescue, which was filmed by one of the construction workers, shows the deer struggling a little as his rescuers cut away the rope from his antlers. I was a little bit nervous. I mean, we have a buck, and he's got antlers on him, Zichong told Inspire More. That certainly wouldn't feel good to get stuck with one of those. Happily, though, Zichong emerged unscathed. What's more, after the animal was released, it clearly wanted to thank his saviors. The deer subsequently followed Zichong back to his vehicle and allowed the officer to pet and scratch him, and it appeared that the buck was not ready to bid farewell just yet. Indeed, the creature seemed more than happy to hang out with his new human friends. The footage of the interactions between Zichong and the deer have since been shared across social media, and the video captures the officer's surprise. Watching the buck walk down the driveway towards him, Zichong exclaims, "He's not scared at all." People on Facebook seem to be equally amazed too, with one user commenting, "Officer Zichong must be a Disney princess." Speaking about the budding friendship and the videos, Zichong said, "I tried to spook him to get him to run back out into the woods, but he wasn't having it. He wanted to hang out with us." Eventually, however, the buck was persuaded to return to the woods from whence he came, but not without some difficulty. And the unusual friendliness of the deer did not go unnoticed in the local neighborhood either. Yes, kids and adults alike welcomed the animal by affectionately naming him Hank. The police department, meanwhile, decided to use the name Uncle Buck when it covered the story on its Facebook page. Then a few days later, Zichong talked to ABC 13 about the incident. And as the officer was interviewed in the backyard where the deer had been discovered, who should turn up but Uncle Buck himself? "He came back to see me," said a surprise Zichong, and he greeted the animal as though he were an old friend. As Uncle Buck nuzzled the officers, Zichong scratched his head saying, "I don't have nothing for you, man." But while delighted to see the deer safe and well, the encounter nonetheless concerned the officer. Having set the animal free, the cop expected the buck to return happily to the wild. It would seem, though, that this had not happened, and Uncle Buck again resisted going home. Speaking about this strange turn of events, Zichong told ABC 13, "I'm not sure what the next route is for him." Needless to say, it concerned other officers too, so they took steps to try to ensure that the deer did not jeopardize his safety by coming back. First, the cops confined the deer to one of the gardens on the streets, before experts arrived to determine the best course of action, and that animal advice came courtesy of game wardens from Texas Parks and Wildlife. The wardens were brought in to decide whether Uncle Buck needed to be moved elsewhere for both the animal's well-being and that of local residents. What's more, full coverage of the story was then provided on the Fulshire Police Facebook page. You see, the friendly deer had become something of a local celebrity, and residents were keen to know what had happened to the buck. So, through social, the cops kept locals up to date with Uncle Buck's condition and relocation. As part of their series of updates and video, the police revealed that Uncle Buck had been safely sedated and taken to an animal sanctuary, as it was decided that he needed to be domesticated. Happily, the department was pleased to announce that the deer had settled in well and was now safe and sound, and seems to love his new protected home. And judging by the comments on the post, the general public were very relieved to read the update. And it isn't just Uncle Buck who's received well wishes as a result of the incident. Fulshire Police has also been congratulated on its handling of the situation. Its Facebook post unveiling Uncle Buck's new life elicited comments such as, "Thank you, Fulshire PD," and "Great job everyone." People were clearly impressed by how the police force had handled such an unusual situation. The incident has also thrown up questions about wildlife safety. You see, while friendly animals might seem to be a good thing, such a gentle demeanor could make them vulnerable. Wildlife behaving like Uncle Buck did certainly seem to be a rare occurrence though. As Zicheng told Inspire More, "I've never had a deer like that or any kind of animal like that. That's that friendly and docile being a wild animal," adding that it made him feel a little uneasy. And it isn't just friendly deer that are making appearances in Fulshire. Recent reports have revealed a trend of wild coyotes attacking residents' pets there. What's more, the coyotes have apparently been seen during daylight hours and have even approached dog walkers. Not all wildlife is as friendly as Uncle Buck then. Moreover, the mystery surrounding why Uncle Buck had been tied up is yet to be resolved. When it announced the rescue on Facebook, Fulshire Police wrote, "We're still unclear as to why the deer was tied up in the first place, and the game wardens involved in the rescue were just as bemused. That's unacceptable," Zicheng told ABC 13. "You can't tie a wild animal up like that." Investigators therefore asked any local residents with information about the incident to come forward. Depending on the circumstances, in fact, the way in which Uncle Buck was tethered by constitute a criminal offense. For now, though, Uncle Buck is settled in an animal sanctuary in Katy, Texas, even though he does not see his good friend Officer Zicheng. The deer is safe from the dangers of backyards and will probably have made many new friends. Then again, it would seem impossible for him not to have done so. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.